heavily reliant on coal for its energy needs. Mr. Kerry is the third high-level U.S. official to visit China in recent weeks. Let's cross now over to Canberra and Stephen Bygrave. He's an honorary professor at the Australian National University's Institute for Climate, Energy and Disaster Solutions. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Just how much do China and the U.S. contribute towards climate change?
Look, this is a really big news. It's a very important step that the two climate envoys from US and China are meeting. China alone accounts for over a third of global emissions. As you mentioned in your introduction, the US and China are the two biggest emitters in the world. So to have these two countries meet, to talk, to come up with bilateral arrangements, particularly in the lead up to COP8 coming up in Dubai later this year. And we shouldn't really forget that the Paris Agreement was such a success because the US and China were able to agree on key elements relating to that framework.
I mean, before heightened geopolitical tensions sidelined their conversations on climate, the two were a bit on track to make some progress. What issues did they see eye to eye on?
Look, in Glasgow, they actually signed the US-China Glasgow Agreement. There was a lot of cooperation, in particular on renewable energy, things like methane emissions, where methane it's a very high global warming potential gas. It's actually 27 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So agreement on methane is really important. And methane's also been a gas that's kind of been one of the 6 Kyoto gases that's kind of been a little bit forgotten in the early years of the climate discussions. There was also agreement on things like deforestation and distributed energy, energy grids, electric vehicles and the like.
So just explain to us how important it is for Washington and Beijing to work in unison on this issue.
Look, it's extremely important. As I mentioned, we've got the COP8, the Conference of the Parties 28, coming up in Dubai in November this year. This is where all countries from around the world get together. But it's really important that the two biggest emitters agree on various matters. And so by having the US and China meet at such an early stage, it sets a really good kind of precedent. If the US and China agree on things, then the rest of the developed world follows the US and the developing world kind of follows China. So this is a really key lead up to the COP28, where I must admit there is some skepticism about how successful the COP in Dubai will be later this year. It's an oil-producing country. The COP28 president is the CEO of an oil company. So there is some discussions about whether this is the right kind of person to lead the negotiations at such an important stage of the negotiations. So having the US and China, if they can broker a deal and then lead discussions at the COP, then that's really, really, really important.